good morning to everybody, and thank you for being here. I know you had a great night last night, good breakfast, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this. So we are here at the Future of That Flower Feeling. My name is Saeed Naeem, the host of The Bloom Show, and as well the owner and president of New Bloom Solutions. Today we have a special episode because we are live on The Bloom Show as well, so we may be taking some questions after. The format is we're going to be speaking to 3 board members, but not just 3 board members of That Flower Feeling. They come from different sectors. We have Chris Drummond from the Florida sector with a flower shop. We have Karen Oy from hard goods sector and also working with wholesalers to WUSA. And Joe Don Zetzi, which is in the supermarket world. Many years of experience as a buyer and a director. So we get to pick their brains today to understand where is that Flower Feeling campaign headed, how does it benefit their sector, and how it can benefit your sector. And then right after we'll take some questions from hopefully the Bloom Show audience if there's anything, and as well from you all. So we really look forward to that. And we are here with Vanessa Lake. She's a new, very familiar face, right, for the last year. And we're gonna, if you could please just kind of explain what you're doing behind the scenes and what is up with That Flower Feeling as of now.
Sure. I guess I'm just talking to a mic. So I'm Vanessa Lade. I'm the managing director of That Flower Feeling. I started a year and a half ago with the initiative as the community engagement and development specialist and have been promoted to the managing director 4 weeks ago. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you. Just a little bit on my background. I have spent my whole life in the nonprofit sector. So I've done executive director, development director for many organizations such as Homes for Our Troops, the United Way, and Avon One for breast cancer, just to name a few. My whole focus has been on fund development and community engagement. So when I came into That Flower Feeling, my focus was to build the foundation of the initiative and the foundation, although the campaign itself had started about a year and a half prior to. We really needed that base foundation to build out with a CRM and analytics and donor database and that sort of thing, and a new website. So those were my first initiatives. Then I took on building out an internship program so that we could have organic posting coming from within and not just rely on the paid marketing campaign. So now that we fast forward a year and a half, we are now in the growth phase. So we're coming from an infant to a toddler, and our 3 priorities for the next year are expanding consumer awareness and engagement. So taking the campaign from the focus of social media and digital audio and raising enough revenue so that we can get to streaming platforms and things like geofencing. So next thing is increasing our fundraising efforts so that we can get to step 1. So that will heavily rely on the whole industry coming together, united behind this campaign to help us raise the funds needed to continue propelling the campaign forward. Right now we're a little over $1 million. We need to get much higher than that. So we're gonna really dig in and rely on the industry to help us push this campaign forward because it takes the industry coming together, and this will work. Avocados from Mexico, Just Do It, That Milk, all national campaign initiatives that propelled those industries forward. So, and our 3rd initiative will be sustaining the campaign, which will be again through the fundraising efforts and then the continued marketing that we do. I will happen to mention that since starting, we have been able to build out an advisory board, which consists of 3 of the folks here today with us and many more representing every single segment of the industry. And several committees, including a marketing committee, a development committee, and a finance committee that are doing the oversight of the marketing campaign, the fundraising, and the finances. And there are just some great industry leaders on these committees helping with this campaign, and we're just so excited for what the future holds.
Thank you very much, and by the way, beautiful voice yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
So how about you start with the first question?
All right, great. So my first question is for Chris Drummond. As chairman of the TFF Advisory Board and a flower shop owner, How has that flower feeling impacted your business, and what role do you see local florists playing in the campaign's next phase?
So I see, well, first of all, the first part of your question is, what is that flower feeling providing to local florists? Right now, the assets, digital assets, the logo, the whole messaging, the fact that that flower feeling has started nationwide messaging about this thing, this extra characteristic that flowers have that are different than other gifts. When someone puts a bouquet of flowers on their kitchen table, or they give flowers to someone, or they receive flowers, there's that true elation. There's something about flowers, that intangible, that are so different than receiving a bottle of wine, for example, or receiving a box of chocolates or a candle. It's just different. Flowers have everything all wrapped into them, the fragrance and the color and the gentle softness of the petals and the graceful foliage. There's just so much to it. It's way different. And so we know that's what that flower feeling is. It's something that a lot of people can't even really put their finger on. So the fact that that flower feeling has elevated that and then given us the assets which are available to all of you, just click on the link on the website, register, and it's free. And then take those assets, whether they're photos, logos, videos, and tweak them, change them, tag them with your own shop name, but also then share, repost what that flower feeling does, but more importantly, create your own content. So we're on the front lines every day, seeing the reaction of people that are buying those flowers, people that are receiving those flowers, when our drivers make a delivery. If we can capture that moment, capture that smile along with the flowers, that's that flower feeling. That's what we need to be sharing. And so what I think florists need to do now are two things. Number one, engage in the movement. And by sharing that on all the social media platforms, the signage in your stores. So engage as much as you can in that flower feeling. And then number two, click on at thatflowerfeeling.org/donate and set yourself up with a recurring donation so that we can budget based on that recurring donation, whether you do it monthly, quarterly, annually. But we know that you're behind the movement. And then that money, along with the funds from breeders and importers, and wholesalers and grocery stores and big box stores, everyone who's going to be contributing to this as we keep recruiting more and more investors to invest in that flower feeling, it will get to that point that Vanessa's talking about. So that's what retailers can do now.
Fantastic, thank you. This question is for Karen. Given your dual role as Miller Oasis and as chair of the TFF Development Committee, how do you see the collaboration between suppliers and the campaign evolving to maximize impact across North America?
Sure. So we're in a very, is this on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. We're in a very unique opportunity right now from the supplies world. So I said earlier, fresh. We all think fresh. That flower feeling is all about fresh, but guess what? Supplies follow the stems. So if stem consumption's down, guess what? Supplies down. Stem consumption's up, so are supplies. So this is where we're in such a unique spot right now in the industry coming in as Smithers Oasis, where we're looking at doing some co-branding, and I would challenge any of you, whether it's in your shops, your wholesale house, if you're a supplier, use that flower feeling as a co-brand. We're trying to hit the consumer, so we've always got to think consumer consumption, right? So if we're selling, whether it's a flower food sachet by For Life, and we co-brand with that flower feeling, or we stick a sticker with a QR code on a clear 905 vase, all of those things end up in someone's home eventually, right? So it just piques interest, and let's scan that code and let's see what that flower feeling is all about. So for us on the supply side, again, I would challenge you is do some co-branding. Let's get the message out there.
So our next question is for Joe Don. With your experience on the TFF Advisory Board, what strategies do you believe are most effective in increasing mass market participation in the campaign, and how can we better engage consumers at the mass market level?
Thanks. First of all, I would really like to celebrate Laura Perkins with Albertsons. because as one of the early adopters and driving forces of this in the mass market sector. She presented it at their big show with all their division managers, and multiple divisions have picked up different That Flower Feeling bouquets from their growers and are planning on presenting it to their customers in 2025. And so it's those early adopters that are really important, first of all, to show the way and help all of us in the mass sector realize the importance of this. A couple of things about it that I think are important as we think about growing the usage in the mass market sector. First of all, the amazing work that Vanessa and the group have done to create such flexibility in this program, right? The hard goods suppliers have created all these different types of hard goods so that you can work as a mass marketer with your grower group that you're very familiar with, that understand the look and feel that you're trying to present already, but can use the materials that best fit the way you go to market, but present this campaign, right? And so that flexibility is really important. And we'll talk about the unit sales program, I think, as we move forward into this conversation, but it's also a very good way, a powerful way for a mass market buyer or director to help fund this campaign is through working with their grower to use these assets to reinforce the campaign. The second piece I think is pretty important, and it's probably surprising to folks that haven't actually worked in a mass market, floral retail, buying or corporate office, is that you would think that these multi-billion-dollar mass retailers must have this massive marketing budget that the floral leadership can access to market flowers to the consumers. That's just not true. It's just not true. If you're talking about a mass retailer, they're going to spend the vast much of their focus and their money on that overarching brand. And then they're going to focus on every week, what are the key messages? They can only give 3 or 4, right? Nobody loves to have 20 emails from a retailer hit their inbox one day. So they're very careful corporately in how much you can use those resources in that marketing budget. So the fact is that even though you're embedded in leading a flower business in a very large mass market company, you're probably only getting marketing support a couple times a year. On the 2 key holidays, when you already are just chasing to try to take care of that volume and make sure you take care of your customers. So the everyday volume and the everyday marketing message that you need ways to get in front of the customer in a creative way. And That Flower Feeling is the way to do it. The other thing I would say is that so many of us in the mass market sector are so focused on outcompeting, right, our competitors. So it's about having a unique product mix that's differentiated and that's exclusive. That whole process of marketing is aimed on how do I take customers away from another retailer that are excited and interested in buying flowers. This is a different thing, right? This is about how do we access the customers. And you might be surprised to know that the retailer I worked with, our customer data showed that over half of the customers had never, in recorded history, that we knew that customer as a known customer of us, had never purchased from our flower shop. Not one purchase, over half. So this campaign is about how do we help people that have never considered buying flowers for themselves to consider buying flowers and to buy them more often. And to do that, we need impressions. We need the customers to see it multiple times, right? And then link it to that social media post that had that cool video and go, oh, I remember seeing that. My friend shared that. I'm going to try flowers today. So it's a different thing. And so this is one where we all need to pull together, but with the assets and the differentiation that's available to us, every mass retailer can make something specifically unique for them, but that still is supporting that broad message that we're all trying to get out to sell more flowers to more Americans every day.
2 things that are important is these assets are free, right? So they're free to everybody. Not only are they free to the florists to access them and use them in their marketing, to repurpose them, also to the wholesalers. I do see many wholesalers here and growers, and I do want to encourage you to think that you can use this too. Not only can you use it to promote That Flower Feeling and the beauty of flowers, but also in educating your end customer. As a wholesaler, grower, there is our jobs to create value to our customer, our end customer, our florist or event planner, and educating them about accessing this information and allowing them to know that it is out there. Not everybody knows it yet, but as Joe said, as a unified message, everybody will get to it. And so I do encourage wholesalers and growers to understand that you might not use it to sell your flowers per se, but you can use it to educate, inform, and add value to your florists, therefore encouraging them to pick this project up and hopefully selling more flowers as a unit. So, next question is, I think this one's for all the panelists. How does that flower feeling not only align with broader industry trends, but also drive innovation through initiatives like the unit sales program? And maybe you want to take a second and explain what the unit sales program is.
So we created a program called the Unit Sales Program, and basically what this is, it's a way to microfund the campaign while increasing awareness to consumers and boosting floral sales. So what we're doing is we've worked with several hard goods suppliers in the industry and asked them to develop hard goods around That Flower Feelings brand. Things that could be used by not only mass markets, but traditional wholesale retail as well. So there's sleeves, there's picks, you can see some of the stuff on the screen as well. There's sheets, there's wraps, there's, we're gonna be talking to Westrock about doing a card line, boxes, all that sorts of stuff that folks can utilize in their day-to-day sales and really promote that flower feeling while getting those sales for self-care. So what we did is we asked the hard goods suppliers to create a percentage that will come back into the foundation based on every sale. So they're going to donate to the foundation. Then the mass markets, such as Albertsons, that have kicked this off, they're going to work with their floral vendors to create a percentage of every bouquet that will go back into the foundation. And then on traditional wholesale, we'll be working with the wholesalers for some sort of percentage as well for any item that they want to sell to their retail florists. And all that this continues to do is spread the messaging of That Flower Feeling, and it's going to resonate. As Joe Don said, they see the commercial, now they go onto your website or into your flower shop or into your grocer, and they see, oh my gosh, I just saw that on a commercial somewhere. Maybe I should buy that because I need self-care for myself, and my mental and emotional well-being should be tied somehow to flowers.
So, you want me to repeat the question?
No, we've got this.
All right. How about you start, Karen?
You want me to start? We always go Chris through.
Well,
We'll shake it up for this one. But in all seriousness, we can all act as a channel of communication for that flower feeling. So we were kind of joking as we were prepping for the session, we could probably say one word each today that resonates, and then we leave and we've said it all. So for me, the word is collaboration. So as we're going through our day-to-day jobs and we keep that collaboration of how we can all support that flower feeling, collaboration's it. Steve, you said 3 words, which was build a legacy. We're like, okay, good, we're done. The session's pretty much there. But in all honesty, I mean, we can all be that channel and be that voice to spread the word.
Yeah, and you know, with regard to the unit sales program, I did hear from a few of my peers, some larger retailers, traditional retailers in the industry, that they were concerned about supporting that flower filling because they said, oh, this supports my competition, which is the grocery store. And I'm here to tell you that that is 100% not true. So we talked about collaboration, and I believe that. Is my mic going in and out, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go a little closer and make sure it picks up. I want to make sure that all of you know my experience. When I started in the business back in the late 80s, mid 80s, our door was 100 feet, less than 100 feet from a big grocery store who had a terrible floral department. But as all of you know, the mass marketers have gotten really good at selling flowers. And I lived through the evolution of their continual improvements of their floral department, their offerings, the freshness, and the varieties. And I was terrified of them taking my customer away by having a really good floral department. And what I experienced was exactly the opposite. By having those flowers in front of people every day, they were in there to buy their bread, milk, and cheese, they saw flowers, they grabbed flowers for themselves, they started to appreciate what flowers meant to them, how it improved their daily life. And so then flowers became top of mind, and they came into my store to have flowers delivered to the hospital or flowers for the anniversary. So I knew that the self-consumption that happened at the supermarket next door improved my consumption at my shop for gifting and for events and other reasons. So it is really true that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's what Karen just mentioned, collaboration. That's what this is all about. And so I am very enthusiastic that not only will the unit sales program, the sleeves, everything that makes the experience for the customer better, and then has that Flower Feeling brand on it and the QR code so that consumers can click on that and say, what's this all about? And I think that is helping elevate flowers in their mind and keeping flowers top of mind, but then also raising money for this campaign, because everyone that's sold does raise money, and money is key to getting us to that next level.
I would just add that this mechanism is very familiar to mass retailers, right? We've used that mechanism many times in the past, often for specific promotion, potentially for a nonprofit aimed at specific holidays, right? For Veterans Day, perhaps you would do a Veterans Day bouquet, and you would ask the grower to donate a percentage or a set amount per bouquet or per case to the cause, so that you could advertise that a percentage of your purchase of this Veterans Day bouquet will be, donated to the Wounded Warriors Association or something like that. And so it's very familiar for mass retailers to understand that we can forego a slight percentage of our gross margin into the cost of goods and easily flow that money where we want to help drive marketing. So this is it's a no-brainer for mass marketers to do this. The aha moment is that what you're doing is reinforcing a national campaign that is driving consumption of flowers every single day. And so that's the compelling part, I think, to help every mass marketer use the differentiated offerings to create a message and create a bouquet or create a program. It could be consumer bunches. The flexibility this also allows you to say, you know what, if in my market, in the way that I go to market, a $15 bouquet is the way that I want to go after this campaign, you might get a 25 cents per bouquet. You can work that into the gross margin of that bouquet. But if you're a different retailer that's very focused on low price flowers, right, for self-purchase, and your average retail is $5, well, it may be only 5 cents or 2 cents that you're giving per unit, but because of the velocity that you're selling those units, it still adds up to a lot of money to help drive this national campaign that's going to reinforce the message that the consumers that aren't buying from you now will consider flowers in the future.
Thank you, Javon. So as we look ahead, what metrics of success should the industry use to measure the impact of that flower feeling, and how can we ensure the campaign remains relevant and effective in the long term?
So obviously the big metric is how often am I selling flowers and at what price am I selling? So what is the bottom line effect on revenue? And that's going to be the big number. We're hearing that from a lot of people who may be investing at a lower level or into that flower feeling, or maybe they're not investing at all and they're saying, show me the money, show me. So we're embarking on what I am excited about is this test campaign that we'll have a control group where we don't do the marketing, and then we'll have 2 test cities where we do the marketing. We have grocery stores on board to give us their sales data, both unit sales and dollar sales. We have wholesale florists on board who are selling to retailers, and then we have a few large retailers. So we can measure pre-campaign sales, same time of year, so it's that week, the previous year compare. So we see there's no seasonal fluctuations that are going to affect the data. So I'm very convinced that once we do this, we'll be able to show, in addition to what we've shown after the first campaign, where we had a third party called Lucid do the measurement, 180 Amsterdam did the creative. We specifically had a separate company do the measurement, so it was non-biased, and we saw an 8% lift in the intent to purchase flowers, just among those who saw the commercial versus those who did not. So we know statistically, scientifically, that the marketing's working, but the next step is to show the industry the real dollars. And what is that number? So we don't know that exact number yet. We will, and we're very excited about that. So that's kind of the next step.
Yeah, and I always say, like, there's some skeptics out there. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you really all about, right? So for me, it's education. We've got to turn the skeptic's mind around to realize that we're in this together. Of course, people want data and metrics, so I've spoken with some people saying, yeah, I need to see proof in the numbers before I'm jumping on this ship, right? And we're going to do that because we all want to measure our marketing ROI. That's what we do. We all want to make money. We all want to be profitable. But then at the end of the day, if we continue to grow our reach and we measure that reach at that consumer level, so again, we just have to keep consumer in the top of our mind here, and we're expanding that reach, guess what? We all win.
I would just add that I'm really excited that this organization is taking the time to get it right? Not rushing into a test program, but really thinking through how do we do it in a way that the data is unassailable. So that when we have those conversations with skeptics, we have real data that's backed up by a market that we flooded with from all, the majority of the retailers in the market, mass and independent, with independent thought on the best way to measure. So Dr. Charlie Hall, many of y'all may know Dr. Charlie Hall he chairs the Floriculture program at Texas A&M University. He's going to be part of that study. And he is well versed, has done a tremendous amount of research, as y'all know, about our floral industry and our consumers. He's going to be the one helping us ensure that we are building this test in the right way so that we can really prove what we need to prove. And as we do that, I think that's a huge unlock for all of us to go, the investment really will pay off because we can prove that it does drive consumption of flowers whenever you market it this way.
Do you mind if I jump in with a Charlie Hall? It just kind of resonated in my head. So for those of you that were at SAF, Charlie Hall just did a big economic panel stage discussion, right? And he's proven people are spending money on pets, recreation vehicles, boats, trips, travel, leisure. People are spending money. We just need to get them to rechannel that and say, listen, when I buy my groceries or I walk by my local retail flower shop, I'm buying flowers for me every single day. People are spending money still, you guys. That's what we also have to remember. So we kind of take that Charlie Hall message and just keep thinking that through.
Well, we demonstrated the power of flowers during the lockdowns at COVID, and there were very few other gift alternatives available. If someone wanted to tell their mom they're thinking about her, what did they do? They sent flowers. And we all saw that in the industry. We saw the huge spike in sales. And I'm hearing from some members of our industry that, hey, it's over. Now we're back to pre-COVID levels, but we're really not. When we look at the numbers, we're still elevated. But consumers, I call it the Janet Jackson theory. What have you done for me lately? And they need to be reminded. They know if they think back to COVID, like their mom when she got those flowers texted right away or called them and like, thank you so much. And we heard it every single day. But the memories of consumers is very short. And what we need to keep reminding them, and that's what this program does, that flower feeling. And by traditional retailers, wholesalers jumping on board, getting involved, sharing all this on your social media, creating your own social media content along the same theme. Flowers for self-care, flowers improve wellness, flowers improve my life, flowers make me happy, flowers make the recipient of my gift happy. This is all the same messaging that we're trying to do on a national level, but unless you do it on a local level with your own social media, we're not going to get the same impact. That's where it really, by repeating and repeating and repeating, most marketers say that consumers have to hear something 10 times before they act on it. It's true. So that's why I encourage everybody to get engaged and keep repeating the same theme, use the hashtag. That's the way it's going to be successful.
And something I would say as well, and we had mentioned that earlier, is the skeptics. Yes, it might have, certain initiatives may have not worked in the past, but now we have so much technology, so much information, so many forms of analytics and ways to collaborate. So now the tools are there to make these initiatives successful in a collaborative and intentional way. So we highly encourage that. Last question here is, for all panelists, how do you envision the flower feeling influencing consumer behavior over the next 5 years? And what strategies should we prioritize to make flowers an essential part of everyday life for more people?
So I was very excited about the first campaign and the theme of self-care made easy. And some of my peers on the traditional retail side of the business didn't agree with me because they said, self-care just supports the supermarkets because most people, when they buy flowers for themselves, it's convenient to buy them while they're in the supermarket, right? But the reason I think that's important is everything starts with yourself. And if you know that flowers provide wellness, they improve your emotional health, they just make the day better. If you're experiencing all that, then flowers are going to be top of mind when you need a gift. And so I'm excited about where we're going to be in 5 years. A lot of that depends on how much money you all give. And I encourage you to become ambassadors and get that flowerfeeling.com/donate. Get that to all of your peers in the industry. Many hands make light work, and many wallets make your contribution a little less because you don't have to contribute as much as everybody else does. But I think if we can get thousands and thousands of traditional retailers coupling their money with the money from the unit sales program, coupling their money with the investment from the larger wholesalers and supermarket chains, and once you couple all that together, it gets us to that critical mass. So where we're going to be in 5 years, who knows? It just depends on the engagement in the industry, both financially and in your own social media and in your stores with the signage and on your trucks, and just incorporating that flower feeling into everything you do.
Yeah, and I'll add, everyone in this room, everyone in the industry, we all can play a significant role in taking this movement forward. So I've only been 9 years in the industry, but I heard, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what was it, Chris? Buzz the Bee?
Promo floor, yeah.
Something. That we've attempted these types of things in the industry before, but guess what we didn't have 20 or 30 years ago? The internet, social media. So we can spread our words so much more quickly now. We're a different culture, and we're trying to target that 21 to 40-year-old Vanessa, I think. Guess what? They're on their phones all day long. So that's how we can get a further reach, and all of us play a role in this. We've got the ability now, if we can change consumer behavior and drive floral consumption for our entire industry, we're not competitors at all. We're trying to lift the entire industry, and guess what? We'll change the future of the world. So excited.
Yeah, so, I led the flower business at the retail I worked at for 16 years out of my 35-year career. And the conversation that I heard from day one as I was learning about the industry and trying to lead forward was, we need marketing. We need Americans to buy flowers the way that Europeans buy flowers. How many times have you heard that in the industry, right? But we've never had a platform that was truly neutral, that was truly focused on every single growing area, every single format of retail that sells flowers, that is very focused on ensuring that everybody benefits. That it is, if you are in the business of getting flowers into the hands of Americans, you'll benefit from this program. And so I absolutely believe that this program is the first opportunity for us to build a platform for the industry to communicate directly with consumers. And if we do that, and when we do that, build that platform, then we will be able to fluidly address the customer every season based on what's happening in that customer's lives that day. If we, God forbid, after the pandemic, we will have the much more powerful way to communicate immediately to customers. This is how flowers make sense in this environment, right? But we have to have the platform, and we all need to be engaged in order to make it big enough to be as impactful as we all want it to be.
So we're going to take some questions. We have a couple questions from the app, and then we'd love to take your questions as well. So how you want to start?
So how can we get our state and national associations involved with That Flower Feeling?
So I'm past president of the Pennsylvania Floral Industry Association. I know how state associations work. I know the budgets are extremely tight. Obviously, we would love for the boards of directors of those associations to carve out a portion of those funds to go to That Flower Feeling. But I really think the way you can be most effective is to help us with the communication. Because I know what the budgets are like, and it's tough to make a budget at an association level. But for you to include in your communications what we're doing, include the links, encourage your members to participate. And when I say participate, please don't just make a donation. What I encourage you to do is figure out what you can give either monthly, quarterly, or yearly, and set up an automatic ACH right from the bank account that it's going to go. That's the way I donate to that flower filling. It's every quarter, and we've budgeted for it at my company. So now that flower filling can budget based on that recurring donation. They know it's coming in. So if you, as a state association, a regional association, if you can help us convince your members to get on board financially, that would be a huge help. And then also engaged in using the assets and repeating the messaging on their own social media. Those are the two big things.
And I'll just expand it from state association to industry associations. I'm the current president of the WOOFS Association. We collaborate a lot with Kate Penn at SAF. So if I look at all of the little movements and all of our industry associations and the power we have behind that, that's where we need our cohesive marketing message to align with that flower feeling. We should all be hashtagging. I want to just change it to TFF because it's so much easier to say. But I mean, if we can get our industry associations linked together and behind this as well, think of all the hundreds of people that are members of those associations that we have in the floral industry. So just expanding off of the state associations and really wrapping our arms around our industry associations.
Ditto. From the Mass side, we'll be at the IPA convention in October. That flower filling has a booth, and we will be sharing with the Mass retailers and the growers that support them there, and continue to build this movement. It's a grassroots movement, so we all have to get engaged.
And I would just say from the staff side of that flower filling, for us, it would be great to be invited to present at state and regional and national association levels, just so that we can continue getting the messaging across. I tend to still run into folks who say, what is that flower filling in the industry? So if we have those opportunities to present and talk to the masses, that's what's going to help us. E-blasts that go out to the constituent base, that's going to help propel this forward. And just even letting them know that the free assets are available is just super important, because folks still don't know about that. So I'll use an example. Dylan Floral, Tony's here with them, has had us come speak over the last few years at their flower show that they put on for their retail florist every year. And I went last year. Madison, our new marketing coordinator, is going this year. And it's just an opportunity for us to just get in front of folks who may not know who we are and what we're doing. And we just, let them know about the assets, encourage a donation, but also let them know what the meaning is behind this, the backstory, and how important it is to unite the industry behind this common cause.
Well said, well said. And then we work with wholesalers as well, and what we do is on the newsletters, we let the florists know that these assets are available. So check this out, great campaign. Even when we repurpose it and post it, we'll say, great campaign, florists, you can access it here. So giving that awareness to your florists just adds value to their business and allows them to grow and everyone else to grow. So we want to open it up for a couple questions. If anybody has any questions, I see John there with a question. Just kidding, just kidding.
No, but I think it's very important that we have to provide the resources. That's, Christy, that's so important to provide the resources to the retailers that's ultimately going to reach the consumers, because that's where we need to be. The consumers need to be aware of this campaign. So it's so important for us to do that.
Right, and that's what's so cool, right? We can go from think of the entire supply chain in floral, from grower to kitchen table or wherever. If we have, back to supplies or sleeves or picks or whatever, that brings everyone together. So you're seeing that in everyone's household, right?
Yeah.
So you're spot on, Tom.
Very well. I think we have a question.
Yeah, we've had some of our clients, so Milano's I work with Milano and Company, we're a wholesaler and a farm, and our end consumer, the retail florists, have started using some of the assets, but they've asked if there's a plan to create more assets in the future.
So the next round of creative is coming up. So we talked about that. At our last board meeting, we know that most consumers have not yet seen our current assets. We think there's still life on them, but we are in the midst of planning for the next round of creative. And this is maybe a little inside baseball, but the agency we're working with, the contract's going to expire. And so just so you all know, like this board is not, we don't sit on our hands or do something just because we've always done it that way. We're gonna look at other agencies, we're gonna get other ideas. We're very aggressive in how we look at this. Like, it's not just, and so someone said to me like, oh, is your next campaign also gonna be self-care? It might be, it might not be. Maybe we take a little twist on that and look at gifting. We don't know what it's gonna look like yet, but I can assure you that there's new creative underway.
Yeah, because with the age of social media, things happen so quickly and it changes so rapidly. We can't be boring. We have to be 2.0 and then thinking about 10.0 right after that, right? So we're committed to that.
Just, this is probably more like a thought, if for your conversation, and maybe you've already talked about it, to create more like a template, something that they could use to input their own thoughts and ideas,
Great
or
idea.
like a framework. Because we've had a lot to where they tweak it to use it as their own, but it doesn't really match that flower feeling. It's kind of like a bastardization of the feeling rather than the following of it. So if there's a template that they can follow, I think that would be super beneficial to add to the packet as well.
You just signed up for the marketing.
And I just want to add that we add new organic social media posts and posters and that sort of thing to the back end of the website every other month. Those are created internally by our interns, and Madison will be leading that as the new marketing coordinator as well. So definitely feel free to reach out to her directly if you have some ideas and input. That would be great. And I'd also like to acknowledge that we do have several members of committees here who are able to answer additional questions. John is on the marketing committee, Cagney's on the development committee, and Martin is on the board and finance committee. So these are ambassadors of the organization as well as everyone here. Feel free to touch base with them if you have any questions, concerns, or things to add to the mix. We want the ideas. That's what's going to help propel us forward as a group.
We have a question over there.
Yes, just kind of bouncing back off of what she was talking about, would it be realistic to create like an app to where maybe there is like a photo collage template or like a photo frame that says that flower feeling, where people can easily, upload their photos, create social media posts right from there. There could be some educational stuff on there about flowers and the use of self-care. I don't know, just kind of hearing everybody and thinking out loud, that might be something super easy and convenient. I know for us at work, we get really busy, and so, sometimes just being able to have an app and snap a picture real quick on your phone and post it to social media, but then being able to add some cute, like that flower feeling frame to it, or some different captions might be cool.
Great suggestion.
It is, and I see Madison typing on her phone.
Marketing committee members, pay attention.
Just to repeat the question, is there a way to create an app so that it can be used kind of as an overlay on any pictures or content you're creating, right? So it's a great idea.
So it's not a consumer app, you're talking about for florists to
It
use.
could be, it could be a consumer app as well.
So they can create their own and share it on their social media.
Exactly,
It's a
and
great
it
idea.
could be, maybe you can post it and it kind of automatically hashtags that flower feeling. I don't know, I'm not a techie person, so.
No, there's a few great ideas we'll share, but I think that's a great, you just started your conversation here. Great, please.
Yeah, so one of the things what I see about donations is very much, of course, about putting funds in. But eventually, if we really look at it, doing things efficient, spending our money efficient, what we see online now is the influencers have quite a prominent part. So the influencers have quite a prominent part in what designers make, what do-it-yourself florists make, what people at home make. But they all need to get the product into their house. So for me as a breeder, as a grower, to get my flowers into an influencer is not that easy. But eventually, if we want to sell more flowers, we also need to create more inspiration. Eh? You all do that via marketing material and stuff. Do you think, or do you as a company or organization think, that flower feeling can have a role where we, for example, as growers, simply donate product, and that you channel that product to the right influencers, out of your budgets? Because eventually, for these influencers to buy flowers is expensive. For me to donate flowers is cheap. It's the best value for money. Like in October, like in the months, there are several months that
You know, some of my flowers go on the compost heaps. That's reality. And that would be, you know, if you really think about money well spent, getting flowers into the hands of influencers and let them play with it under the brand. It doesn't even need to be my brand, I don't care. It's, you know, it's fine if they use the product, it's great with that flower feeling. And I'm very curious how you look at that element.
Yeah, so that's been something we've discussed. It came up again at our last meeting, is how do we engage influencers? And we know that, you know, they love flowers, right? So if there's a way we can get them free flowers to use whatever they're doing, it will help. You know, when Miley Cyrus, you know, launched her song about buying flowers, you know, of course we jumped on it right away, and that Flower Feeling bought a billboard right between her studio and her home, and then we also created a custom vase and sent her flowers, just trying to get her to share it on social media. We're still trying to work that angle. I was talking to someone last night who has a mutual friend with Miley Cyrus. We're kind of working all the angles, you know, because when someone of that stature releases a song that talks exactly about our product, you know, we want to engage that. So that's just one example. But we're thinking of other ways, and your suggestion is a great one. That we have plenty of people in this industry that are willing to donate flowers. Let's get them in the hands of the right people that have the audience, the influencers. So, great idea.
So Miley, if you're listening to this live show, we want you. We can probably help lift your brand too. But in all seriousness, we need to do more spotlights, right? We want to spotlight the growers. We want to spotlight suppliers, retailers, supermarkets. I mean, if we, as a association, mission, initiative, if we can spotlight every segment of the industry, it's definitely going to help.
We have time for one more question.
My question actually follows exactly what you just said in spotlighting, and wondering, because I haven't looked at the website in a while, is there a place where the consumer can go on the website and see retailers that are participating in that Flower Feeling, or somewhere where they can purchase flowers that are being supported?
So let Vanessa take it.
Yeah, I'll answer it. So, no, because we want to stay neutral as Switzerland, representing everyone. But what we are doing is during our lives, we did a live with Jay Schwanke
That followed International Self-Care Day. And what we did was during the live, I just kind of held up the sleeves and some of the pics, and I said, coming soon to a grocer, florist, farm stand, wherever you buy flowers near you, look for the That Flower Feeling sleeve. We have a blog that goes directly to consumers, and we're collecting email addresses for a newsletter that will start at the end of this year. And that's all the things that we're going to be talking about to them. In our blog right now, we talk about love of flowers and passion for flowers and self-care with flowers and flowers for fragrance. And, you know, there's so many different topics that we touch on every other week when the blog launches. And we just will continue that messaging to the consumers, but not saying specifically where you can get this, because we don't want to take away from, you know, the local wholesaler that might be selling that to retail over the mass markets. It definitely has to stay a neutral campaign for everybody, but we will continue to say, go get your That Flower Feeling bouquet soon somewhere near you.
I don't think we'd be adverse to testimonials, though. I mean, that kind of comes to the spread the word, right? So if you have testimonials, social, hashtag, do all of that, because that's also, it's you guys giving testimonials and not us pitching a certain brand or a certain
No, we would definitely be open. We would definitely be open to that. And just another way, just to let you guys know how we're reaching consumers, not just through social and digital and audio. We're doing consumer activations, and our plan is to pick at least 4 to 6 shows next year. And after every show, take all the extra flowers and go out into the community and do self-care bouquets. We're doing that Saturday. If anyone is interested in joining us, we want you to come and grab content for your socials, talk to the consumers. We'll have mics there so you can, do some videos with them. It's a perfect way for us to get real time from the consumer. What is the impact of flowers on you? what do flowers mean to you? We come up with a list of questions we're going to be asking, and it's just a real direct contact with seeing the impact when someone receives a bouquet, and we call it for self-care. Take this and use this to boost your mental health, boost your emotional well-being today. So that's 10 to 1 p.m. At the Forum. Carlsbad will be right in front of, we're not in front of Anthropology anymore, we're in front of Lululemon. So hopefully we'll just get a lot of folks coming and getting these free bouquets. We've partnered with a flower truck called Street Blooms, and we intend to do that going forward just as another mechanism of talking to consumers, getting in front of them. We did it in Fort Lauderdale, and the reach was just magnificent. We had so many people tagging That Flower Feeling, taking videos, taking pictures of themselves getting flowers, taking pictures of our signs, and we just want to continue that momentum.
As we've learned today, intentionality and collaboration are key to this, and believing in it, and we've seen the numbers, and hopefully with more initiatives and even testing certain markets, we'll see much more numbers. So we encourage everybody from wholesalers, growers to florists to participate in one way or another, either by donating or by spreading the word, or by both. As well, we're going to pop up here, Madison's going to pop up the Bloom Show. If you want to copy the QR code or scan it so you could watch this again and or share it with people in your company or your audience, feel free to. And this is an example of how we just easily repurposed that flower for you. Very simple. We just repurposed the background and the logo, and I think it's perfectly fine, right? See? Okay, good. So Steve's going to come to the stage to give a gift to our guests, but we really, truly thank you all for being here, and hopefully you can go out and spread the word and continue to spread the word in supporting this initiative. Thank you.
So first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming, for demonstrating an interest in what we're trying to accomplish. This is exactly what we need. We just got to show up and be participatory and lend your own efforts to what we're trying to do industry-wide. It's really gratifying to see, everybody taking the time out of their day to spend the time learning about what we're trying to accomplish. And hopefully we're sending you away with feeling like you're on a mission. I also want to thank the panelists. Your guys, your passion and your professional acumen and lending your voice to being ambassadors for this important project is very, very much appreciated. For someone like me who's been in since day one, it feels like here comes the cavalry. Like here comes the industry now. It took a couple of years, but we've got your attention now. So it feels great. Saeed and Vanessa, thank you so much for taking the time to moderate and to present and carefully put the deck together and that sort of thing. I think it was really high value for everybody. So if we could just have a quick round of applause for our panelists. Some floral gifts, because that seems apropos in the moment, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So thanks again. The next step is the flower fair. That starts in about 15 minutes. It's the featured, kind of afternoon for the convention. So head down there and talk to your vendors, engage, find some new products to put in the stores, and we'll see you down there. There's a lunch as part of that. So enjoy the rest of your midday and afternoon here at Fun and Sun Convention.
Thank you.
Thanks again.